Welcome to the TheDPost for All Season Sports Show. I'm Drew Rubenstein, back with Fred Wyatt once again. And Fred, from where we left off last time, your WVU playing career, I think we'll stick to that conversation, and specifically the Penn State series, which I know your teams take a lot of pride in because you had a nice record against Penn State, which over the course of West Virginia football's the rest of its history, the same cannot be said. But let's start back your freshman year, and I think there's a story that goes along the lines that had you had a good night's sleep, maybe your record would have been 4-0 against Penn State. Is that true?
Well, we lived in the dormitory, and I roomed with Bob Moss, and we had a fellow by the name of Ben Dunkerley who was the all-star lineman, and he took a liking to us. It was our group was a strange in a nice way group, and the people who the Phi Beters were trying to get everybody out. They were going to get them to march, and freshmen had to march and had to wear a beanie, and we didn't do any of those things. But we didn't have to, but so we're setting up there. It's 9:30, getting ready to go. There's a knock at the door, and I open the door, and it's Ben Dunkerley. And it's sort of strange if you have somebody that you admire but you don't know very well, and he really is taken to you. And my roommate was Bob Moss, and I said, Ben, what are you doing here? And he said, and you only had a split second to think about that. He said, I came over to stay all night with you guys, to spend the night with you. This is the biggest game that we've got coming up ever. It's Penn State. They've got a great team, a great record. We lost that Furman game. I was already, and I think we won maybe one more game. It was like 1-1. So I immediately said, come on in, like that. It was just a flash, like a thunderbolt. He came in, and he said, we only had two bunk beds. So we flipped a coin. I lost. And we weren't smart enough to think about moving the beds together and taking a belt or something and tying them.
Right.
We were on them. Ben's here, he weighs 245, and that was big at the time. Bobby, my roommate's over here, he weighs 195, and I'm in the middle on the crack of the bed. And every time they'd roll over in the middle of the night, the bed would separate, and I'd be out like this, get it back. Next morning, Ben gets up, he gets up, I'm not sure that I think he slept in his clothes probably, and he got up and he said, "See you guys at breakfast," and then and went out and went to breakfast, and then we played. Well, Penn State's got a great team that year. I'm going to think that they were undefeated at that time. They had Tony Rados, they had Roosevelt Greer, and they had Lenny Moore, and they were really a great team. We jumped into a lead on them, and we had, I think, about 4 or 5 freshmen starting. And they had, before halftime, though, they tied it up. I threw a pass, and they intercepted it and went down and scored, and it was 14-14. And then the second half, they scored 3 touchdowns, and we scored 1, and they beat us 35-21. Well, that was the only game that we lost to Penn State. And West Virginia had an opportunity to win 9 games, and our team won 3 of them, of the 9 games that they had.
All time against the Nittany Lions.
Against them, yep.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. At the time when you beat Penn State, did you realize the significance for the school and the community and the state? That it was obviously at least viewed in West Virginia as a regional rival, and then you hear mixed reviews whether or not Penn State views it the same way. But for your teams to win 3 in a row in a series that had never happened, and then since then has never happened,
right.
Did you realize the importance and the significance of what you all had accomplished?
I don't think so. I think we had all were sort of independent, and we came together, and we knew that it was a big rival, and we went out and won 3 of them, and that was 3, and they have only won 9.
do you get the sense of the rivalry? Does it still mean as much? Last year, Oliver Luck announced that WVU is going to be playing a 2-game series against Penn State, and it's coming back. And as a former player and a fan of the university, is that a game that you'd like to see on a more consistent basis? How is it still viewed in this region and this state?
I'd say to the older people, it would be a game that they would look forward to. To the new people, I don't think it'll mean the same thing. It's just like playing Pitt. But those 2 games were big games when we were playing.
Great. Fred, I appreciate your time once again.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. And please continue to check TheDPost.com. Thanks for watching today.